G'day you cheeky dogs! Today we're going to be going through the top 10 funniest moments from the Bluey episode, The Sign. And yes, I know that it was also a very sad and emotional episode as well. I myself also cried in it twice. But we're going to be focusing on the funny gags that were all throughout this 28-minute episode.
Hey, Cannon!
Thanks, Mort.
And some of them maybe you might not have actually picked up on if you weren't Australian, so I'm really excited to go through those.
Nana! Bob and Stripe are dancing like eagles.
Oh, I gotta see this.
As always though, if you love Bluey as much as we do here, don't forget to hit that like button down below, that subscribe button, and that bell for notifications so you know whenever I release any other Bluey videos. Starting off then at number 10 and working our way up to number 1 of my favorite funniest moments. Number 10 for me was definitely the post-story scene at Bluey's school. Just after Calypso has finished telling the story, it was just this funny gag of exactly how children react.
What happens next? Why didn't he want to join the army? What were the horses' names?
It wasn't just oh, that was a nice story, but the quick montage of everyone snapping out questions as fast as they possibly could.
I would have called the white one Snowy.
Yeah, and the black one Midnight.
Ooh, yeah.
And the part as well where Rusty also commented about Pretzel's guinea pig maybe being eaten by a snake made me giggle.
Probably a snake ate him.
Number 9 for me then is the Trixie and Stripe gags. So this happens throughout the entire episode, but it starts off right at the very beginning when Stripe does mess up with telling Frisky that apparently she's moving out west. And he makes a whole funny gag of oh, Trix is calling me.
I think Trix is calling me.
No, I'm not.
I am also going to have a bit of a theory video about this because a few people have been are they getting divorced because they're fighting all the time? But I do think that they end up resolving it because they have that really funny dance scene as well during the dancing montage at the wedding. My number 8 funniest moment was definitely the one throwaway line that Chili had about her and Frisky when they were up at Mount Cootha.
This is the lookout. Frisky and I used to come up here as teenagers to, think.
So I've already seen a lot of people talking about this. They're what was she talking about? To me, it seemed very obvious, but what rhymes with think? That teenagers aren't supposed to do. That's basically your answer, but it did give me a nice little giggle.
Now I've got to go somewhere and do some serious thinking.
I'm sure he meant to say serious drinking. That's what I assumed.
Now, not just speaking of the funniest moments, but the funniest episodes in Bluey, I definitely personally think is Dad Baby, which Disney will never air. But you can watch it on ABC Australia, but you need a VPN. Which is why I'd like to say a huge thank you to today's sponsor, NordVPN, which I have been using for years now, and they have officially sponsored me. I constantly talk about that this is what I use so I can watch new Bluey episodes in Australia on ABC iView, which is a free streaming site. And now with my personal link here at nordvpn.com/AussieGirlMargie, you can also watch Dad Baby and all of the uncensored Bluey episodes as well in all of their Australian glory.
Care for a lick?
Do you want a bit?
Now, when you click on my NordVPN link, it's in the description box and pinned comment down below. It does come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, and it is incredibly easy to use. Literally, all you do is once it's downloaded, you click Australia, and it changes your internet location to Australia. From there, you can go into ABC iView, watch as much Bluey as you want, as well as any of the other really amazing Australian shows that we have. Also, if you are Australian and obviously already have access to ABC iView, you can use NordVPN for other streaming sites like Netflix and see what other countries have that Australia doesn't. You can also use my link here as well for an exclusive deal to get an extra 4 months for free. So again, it's nordvpn.com/AussieGirlMargie, and you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. And I also have it pinned below with a tutorial on everything you need to know on how to set it up as well. But back to all the funniest moments from the episode The Sign. Number 7 then for me was Bucky Dunston.
G'day, Bucky.
Bandits!
And just some of the lines he had were so funny. Aside from calling Bandit a ridiculous amount of nicknames.
Banditas, the big B, Bandito.
He also at the very beginning says this line about how Queensland summers aren't that hot, but they are.
Oh, it doesn't have a pool?
Oh, no, you won't need one. Queensland summers aren't that hot.
As someone who grew up in Queensland myself, it is very nice to have a pool. But this is one of those funny, just Australian references to the fact that Queensland is called the Sunshine State because it's sunny so often. So yeah, it is kind of nice to have a pool.
And look what it's got.
A pool.
The 6th funniest moment for me was definitely, yet again, Uncle Stripe, who was just hilarious throughout this entire episode. But that one moment when Frisky is throwing her flowers in the air and he jumps in to catch it instead, I burst out laughing at that, and especially at Trixie's face in the background. The The fifth funniest moment for me was what might be considered a sad moment, but it was when Nana and Bob were crying at the wedding. And I think it was just like the comedic timing of this was really funny because, yeah, we expect people to like cry at a wedding because Frisky is so beautiful and their son is getting married. The fact that like it was just Nana and then like deadpans across and Bob was like bawling his eyes out too. And again, Trixie's face was so funny in this. I laughed again at this moment. The fourth funniest moment for me then was also the Chili and her tail gag. And right at the very beginning, just after Frisky is like run off and the children are trying to tell Uncle Stripe and Bandit that like the marriage is off, and she just keeps putting her hand over their mouth and then uses her tail to control Bluey and pull her in.
The wedding is off
To a great start.
Yeah, it's looking good.
I laughed out loud at that tail part, but also like the gag about, are we allowed to do that?
Dad, the wedding's
Are we allowed to do that?
Nah. Cat squad.
Dad, the wedding's
Are we allowed to do that?
Third funniest moment for me was another Chili moment as well. And again, it was the comedic timing in this that made it so funny, because it was that beautiful scene of Rad and Frisky at the top of Mount Cootha, like realizing like that they had a miscommunication and that Rad like really does know Frisky. And then Chili just like awkwardly being like, I'm gonna try and not be a third wheel right now.
I'll just check on the kids.
Moving on then to my second funniest moment was, again, what a surprise, Uncle Stripe, but it was the hungover joke and the fact that he was in the bushes still the next morning because obviously he partied way too hard at the wedding.
What day is it?
Now, before I do go on to my number one, I do have some like honorable mentions of like just little funny moments.
Mum, please tell Dad not to make us move.
Oh, Chili.
One was that moment where we see Bingo in bed and she is like filled her whole bed with stuffies. That is such like a 4-year-old move. So that made me have a little giggle. And then of course, just Muffin.
Flowers! Holly!
Muffin is continuously, I think, one of the funniest characters in Bluey, and this was no different.
Aunt Chili, I need the toilet. Oh, socks!
Everything from like her mispronouncing binoculars,
Ah! Binoculars! Yeah!
her getting angry at socks at the juice shop and saying like me first,
Come on, we'll check inside.
her banging on the xylophone like she was the Hulk when they're at the park, as well as just in general like her screaming at the binoculars and then like rage eating the chocolate cake too. Just pure funny Muffin moments.
That's silly. Why do you need to find yourself?
But then that leads to my number one funniest moment, and something that I think was both a joke in the show but also a joke for us as audiences and especially as like Bluey content creators as well, and that was the joke about Frisky being pregnant.
Frisky and I have an announcement. No, Mum, not that.
Oh, biscuits.
Now again, this was just really funny because like it was the assumption that Frisky was going to be the one who was going to be pregnant. It made the most sense because we thought that Brandy was infertile, but this whole episode was about fairy tale endings, or specifically happy endings. Brandy's happy ending was going to be pregnant and having her own little baby, and in this case the happy ending for Frisky was her and Rad getting married and her not having to move out west.
Well, we're not doing that anymore. Huh? You see, relationships are complicated things and...
We're staying here!
But I do love that they just threw in this joke about her being pregnant and like Nana just being so excited and then so disappointed as well. But cheeky dogs, let me know in that comment section down below what was your favorite moment or what you thought was the funniest moment in this episode. I can't wait to read all of your comments down there, and while you're down there as well, don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe button, and bell for notifications so you know whenever I release my next Bluey video. But until then, I have picked you cheeky dogs out a whole heap of videos for you to watch, and I will see you all in another video. Mwah! Bye!